lines. We got our guy, Jake Crain of the JBoy Show, Volume Sports Network. Jake has once again kicked the LSU Hornets' nest, cranked up the cycle, the news cycle that is 211. JBoy, at first it's calling into the Coach O Show and intimating rumors about your sister. Now it's Lincoln Riley. What do you have to say for yourself?
First off, the first incident that you're referring to, I had nothing to do with. So I hope Bebe and whoever that was that called in are going to be okay. But no, it's good to be back. I appreciate y'all having me. And no, look, I'm not a guy that breaks news all the time either. I'm not a guy out there who's like Woj bombing everything. But somebody I trust very much who's been right every time I've ever talked to him. He's been in the business for a long time and knows very important people. Gave me some information about Lincoln Riley yesterday and gave me the go-ahead to be able to put it out there, obviously without, naming him. But, no, I put it out there, and then, it just goes off like wildfire. And again, people do need to understand the difference between being offered and then accepted, at the end of the day. Because immediately you say somebody's been offered a contract, people automatically think you're going to accept it. And if it's worth the money that I'm being told it's worth, I don't know how you don't accept it. And then the question becomes, would Caleb Williams come over if Lincoln made that choice?
So I will say this, Jake. We just talked about last segment. The number is very interesting because, even for weeks now, there have been a lot of rumors swirling that kind of the fishing lure thrown out was 8 years, $100 million, right? So it is right in line with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at what Mel Tucker just got. He just got 95 for 10.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, right? And so, like, the only way Tucker gets that is if there are big numbers being talked about. So, okay, so you feel comfortable to say that it's definitely been offered. Do you have any idea on the Lincoln Riley side of the equation?
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about it. I don't know how you don't accept it. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think Oklahoma, I said this yesterday, I don't think Oklahoma would match it. And then looking at what, LSU can do and how quick you can flip LSU, I think you go to LSU and you're in a better situation already than you were at Oklahoma. I just really believe that. Even, this year, I know they just lost to Baylor, but now if you're Lincoln Riley, I don't know how you don't accept it. I mean, I think he is. I mean, I think he is going to accept it. But, we'll see. Y'all know how these coaching searches go. It can change in a second. Bruce Feldman told me I was wrong yesterday, but he's the same one that said Mel Tucker was the leading candidate 2 weeks ago. So we'll see.
That's fair, right? It's
and then he also said Bo Pelini wasn't going to LSU, and he wrote 2 books about Ed Orgeron. I'm not Sherlock Holmes, but I can connect the dots.
Well, I mean, I don't know, though. I'll push back on that a little bit. I don't know, like, why would it what dog does O have in this fight anymore?
No. I'm not saying Edo has anything to do with it. I'm saying that's Edo's boy.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying Edo even said anything. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, everybody's wrong sometimes. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And okay, so you raised good points about Lincoln, and in terms of just like how could you not jump at that? Is Lincoln worth it though? Because that's the immediate conversation that starts to take place after this news is like, well, that's a lot of money, man. And then when you have that much money, you start looking at things more closely, and then some blemishes start to show up. Is Lincoln worth it?
Well, I've heard, and again, I know a lot of LSU fans are kind of in line with what they want, but I've heard half say, we need the father figure, the guy that's not going to cause any waves off the field, and then the other half say, well, we need an innovative offensive mind like Joe Brady so it can be fun again and this, that, and the other. To me, Lincoln Riley is an amalgamation of both of those things. While he's not old, while he's not one of these older guys, he's still a guy that's not going to cause any problems off the field. He understands the importance of the culture in the locker room and how everything has to go together, and he has won a lot of games. The hump he hasn't gotten over is when he's gotten to the playoffs, he's 0-4 all 4 times against SEC teams, including LSU in 2019, which I know y'all are well aware of. At the end of the day, I mean, I think he's one of the top 5 coaches in the country. I think he's an innovative offensive mind, and he's balanced in pass and run a lot more than what people think. They think the same thing about Lincoln Riley that they do about Lane Kiffin. Just because he's young and a good offensive mind doesn't mean you're out there running the air raid.
Hey, Jake, although the air raid's kind of hitting right now.
Jake,
it's so hit or miss on Mike Leach, man. They'll lose to Memphis and then beat Auburn and then lose an inter squad.
Oh,
no.
Dang it, Bobby.
I think I just accidentally retired Jake Hester from the interview, so I wanted to get my air raid joke in there. Jake, do you want me to ask your question that you were going to ask for? What were you going to ask him?
Dave or Lincoln?
Okay, Jake wants me to ask you Dave Aranda or Lincoln Riley?
I'm taking Lincoln. I just think with what he does offensively. I mean, what they do, not only in the gap scheme, but the play action off the gap scheme. I mean, he's got one of the best, play action off power and counter and trucks and that stuff, about as good as anybody in the country. And as a defensive guy, it just keeps me up at night. I would take Lincoln. Dave's a really good coach. You're going to play good complementary football. I think he's going to get the USC job.
It would seem to make a lot of sense from a fit standpoint, right? I talked about it the other day. Like USC, they're elitist. They think of themselves above the unwashed masses. They think of themselves as like intellectuals. And Dave is that kind of off-kilter intellectual coach that, like, I feel like California people would kind of fall over themselves for. You mentioned the other big part of it yesterday, Jake, was the mention of Caleb Williams. So, I mean, yeah, with the transfer portal now, and when a coach leaves, it opens the transfer portal up. So, as you point out, I mean, Lincoln could kind of try to convince whoever he wanted to come with him.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised nobody talks about this more across the country. When these coaches, especially if they go from like a good Power 5 job to another good Power 5 job, you can bring players with you, like legitimately where they don't have to sit out. You can be like, I'll take the quarterback, both my offensive tackles, and a defensive end. I'm very interested to see that dynamic of players following coaches because it's legal now. I mean, we had Jim Moore on the show yesterday, and he was talking about it like NFL free agency. So I wouldn't be shocked to see an inordinate amount of people follow him if he left, especially the guy who's playing the position and the reason he went to Oklahoma was to play quarterback for Lincoln Riley.
I mean, we've seen it in baseball here, Jake. Jay Johnson, the new baseball coach, came from Arizona to LSU, and he brought his best player, Jacob Berry, with him and others. Like, not only players from Arizona, but guys that were committed to Arizona as well. I mean, they are now LSU Tigers, so you certainly will see it in football. I think that's something – and I talked about it yesterday when we had a coaching change and I was playing at LSU. One of the names to replace Nick Saban was Bobby Petrino, and I was panicking because Bobby Petrino didn't run a fullback. And I was playing fullback at the time. I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm going to be switched over to linebacker or something. I have no idea where I fit in this offense. And thankfully, the person who loves fullbacks more than anyone, Les Miles, was higher. But
yeah, there you go.
I was panicking a little bit. But now you don't have to worry about that, Jake. I mean, you can, like you just said, you don't have to worry about, am I a fit for the new coach? Because if you're not, you can transfer, and there's not a penalty.
Yeah, I agree. Not only that, Jake, you know this. You don't have to learn new terminology.
Yeah.
I don't have to learn anything new. The words all mean the same to me.
Yeah,
it's like moving. It's like when the people that used to like move over, like foreign exchange students in high school that like moved from like Spain, and all of a sudden they enrolled in Spanish 101. You're like, man, this is BS. It's like you're going to pass with the flying colors.
Jake, any thoughts on, I mean, it seems like Ryan Nanny, Celebrity Hot Tub, tweeted this yesterday. I think I agree with him, which is like the fun part about Lane Kiffin is that you can never say that he's all the way out on any job. Any thoughts on like Lane to like Miami or anywhere else? Or you think he's staying put at Ole Miss?
With Lane, I mean, I would never be shocked. Here's, and I don't want to get too far away from the question, but there's a few dominoes that I find fascinating. Number one, if Lane were to leave Ole Miss, let's just say he were to go to Miami, they'd probably hire Jeff Lebby to be the new head coach there. That's what I would guess, especially with his relationship with the Mannings. But how fascinating would it be if Lincoln Riley did go to LSU and then Josh Heupel went home to Oklahoma? How much of just an absolute seismic meteor would that cause? Poor Tennessee fans. I mean, they're just going to just be locked in their rooms listening to With Arms Wide Open by Creed.
That's a banger.
That's what Jake
You've
busted
seen it
out
live.
at Gabriel's.
You've seen it live and in person.
Yeah, that's what he busted out at Gabriel's during karaoke night. All right, Jake Crain, JBoy Show. Host the JBoy Show every single day on Colin Cowherd's Volume Sports Network. Catch him on YouTube live from the College Football Hall of Fame. Jake, thanks so much, man.
Hey guys, anytime, it's a blessing and an honor. You're both gentlemen and scholars, and anytime you need me.
Agreed.
Thanks,
bro.
Jake.
Agreed. Thank you, man. Any thoughts on the way out here, Jay?
I have no thoughts.
When we get back, we're going to close out hour number 2. Keep the last one off the bid.